Welcome everyone to Balls on the Pitch. My name is Hussein Seif, and with me, as always,
is Kareem Hosem.
I say as always, although I did record a solo episode last episode. So that's
But that's only because I was busy and
Yes,
I sort of like went
life.
MIA on you.
Well, no, I mean, let's just say that life forced us to go MIA on each other, and that's what happens sometimes. And
It does.
it's going to happen again. We're not going to lie to you about this. But we do the best we can, and we appreciate everyone who listens. But there are some very important recent events and upcoming events that we want to discuss. The first thing we want to talk about is the Community Shield, which is happening next Saturday.
I mean, we have to talk about it because you support Arsenal, I support Liverpool,
Yeah.
so like it's kind of like it had to happen.
It's kind of the theme,
And
really.
this is the reason why. Yeah, right. I was like, I've been forgetting Hasina. I've gone too long MIA. I can't keep doing this. I need to like message him.
Yeah.
Because like the Community Shield is coming up and we're playing each other and we have to report something. So like,
Yeah, there we are.
ta-da!
I mean, I was just silently stewing like, oh, Kareem, you're costing me $20,000 just by not posting this podcast. And I was like, well, he's costing me $0 because I'm not making anything. So it was all fine. And as long as we get something out before the game and people get to see what we think, then it's all happy times. Like this podcast thing is on a slight tangent. It's super weird because as someone who edits them all the time, I'm already bored of hearing myself. So I'm just hoping that the listeners don't share that. But if they do, I'm sure they'll let us know. Listeners are very vocal.
Absolutely.
Very vocal, the listeners.
Exactly. leave a comment below. Below. Tell us what you think. If it's positive, leave it below. If it's negative, just go away.
Yeah, exactly. Or you could DM it if it's negative, just so that no one else.
Yeah, exactly. We like criticism.
Yeah,
feedback.
Feedback's good.
Feedback is good. Constructive criticism is what it is.
Yes.
We like constructive criticism. If you're gonna come with negativity, get out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
Come with positive criticism.
Yeah, and then they're gonna
we
be
accept all of that.
those guys that like to walk the line and like say a negative thing, but it's a joke, and it's like, can you figure out how subtly this is a joke, but also an insult? So we appreciate that as well. Let's discuss the Community Shield. Arsenal, after disappointing for much of the season, and then getting Arteta to replace Unai Emery, and I obviously had a lot of opinions about that and how successful Arteta could be immediately. He went and did what not a lot of people expected, which is to actually win a trophy after coming in December. So like it's insane that he won the FA Cup, and obviously I really enjoyed that we won that. Have to confess that I did fall asleep in the middle of the game. I don't know. I never thought that would happen, but it was just one of those days where like it was a super long day, and I turned on the game, and as soon as halftime hit, I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a. And then I woke up
a little
yeah, just a little. And then I woke up. It was like 9 p.m. and I woke up to a text from my boss congratulating me. So that's how I knew we won. And then I watched everything back. But at least we won, and that's the important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Which means we get to face Liverpool in the Community Shield. So I mean, obviously,
how do you feel about that? How are you scared? Are you confident? Are you excited? How are you feeling about sort of like facing Liverpool? Because you actually you beat us last time we actually played together. You beat us 2-1.
Oh.
We ran you off that pitch, but you beat us 2-1.
Oh yeah, we did. That's fun. Well, to be honest, like every Community Shield we've played has been after an FA Cup win, and we've always faced the league challenger. So it's always a game that you think you're going to lose, just by virtue of the fact that the league is fair to say the league's a bit harder to win, and the FA Cup, even though it's a cup competition, that's different. But no, like I'm excited. I'm excited. It's the strange Community Shield because it's like probably the fastest turnaround for a Community Shield we ever had. Just by virtue of like what happened this year. It's been the craziest year in the history of all sports. I think I'm just excited to see like if either team has made a lot of changes, if any, if there's changes tactically or not, if there's changes personnel wise or not, whether or not that means anything, all that stuff I'm interested in. The result doesn't really mean that much to me, if I'm honest. I'm one of those people who kind of thinks it's like half a trophy, but whatever, I'm just excited to watch the game. Yeah.
Technically, it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, if you win it, it's a
It's
trophy.
still a trophy. Exactly. If you win, it's a trophy. That's something that.
I mean,
Yeah.
City included that in
Yeah.
their.
Yeah.
In
They make a
their,
lot of jokes
what's
about
it?
that. That's what I
The
was.
formidables.
Formidables. Yeah. Yeah. Pep Guardiola jokes about that. About it being actually 3 or not 4. But the actual Man City president, obviously, and I forgot his name. Is added.
Khaldoon. Oh
Khaldoon.
no! Wait, not
Is it?
is Khaldun al Mubarak. Khaldun al Mubarak is the guy who runs shit like on a day-to-day
Yeah, him.
basis.
Yeah.
But like
Hey, man, that's what I'm talking
the
about.
big guy is the sheikh back in
No,
back
Khaldoon
in the
Mubarak.
Emirates.
Then he's the one who's like always adamant that it's 4 trophies.
Yeah.
So that's fair play to him. It is a trophy by definition. So,
As he wishes.
do you think that Liverpool will field a different team? Have you lost players since you've last played?
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, we lost. I think we sold Lovren. That's
Which you'll
went-
understandably be happy about.
I mean, I wish him well. I wish him well in all his endeavors. And he went to Russia. He went to Russia and he won a trophy with his first game. Like, he actually won a trophy in his first game.
Really?
And I have a feeling he might have scored in the second game that he played. So, like, I'm happy for Dejan. I'm like, they obviously like created all that content, like when he was leaving, sort of like with Salah, sort of like giving him a nice send off message, and like Klopp also giving him a nice send off message. So I think it's sort of like that is sort of like it showcases the culture you have in the team, where a lot of people were probably sort of like really happy about like Lovren leaving. It's the manager and sort of like the general feeling of how they send off a player showcases what type of culture that they have in there. So like on the outside you have like people cursing and like saying Lovren needs to leave and blah 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 and all of that. But when you look at it, sort of like, and it's important for the club to put out this message and this content because it affects sort of like how fans see things, how fans relate to certain players. So when the club puts out a sort of like that message through content of like, thank you Dejan, you've been a great servant, you've seen some highs, and they only focus on the highs, it makes it sort of like, it changes the narrative slightly to a more positive note, and you then remember the player on a more positive note. And that I think is really, really important in terms of how a club conducts itself on social media.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it you can see it sort of like affect the fan base a little bit. And I think Arsenal are actually doing a really good job with their social media and sort of like trying to change the culture online.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're never going to change Arsenal Fan TV because they're just like they've gone to a certain like way and they're sticking to it.
Yeah, they're
but
trying.
Like, the club has changed it.
Yeah, like Robbie from AFTV, like who's the owner, like the founder. He's trying, I think, to be less
aggressive.
Yeah, let's say, or inflammatory. But he still has DT and all the other guys and troops or whatever who are gonna do that. So I used to give him a lot of hate, or like I used to be like, come on man, you're supposed to love Arsenal, you're not supposed to shit on them all the time. And then I feel like, you know, like you're fully within your rights to make a business, you're fully within your rights to try and earn a living. If you think that having people do that is going to make you more money, I don't blame you. You know, if you need to feed your family and all that, blah blah. So, and now that he's actually trying to himself, at least as the one person in the team, in the organization who tries to toe like a more reasonable line, I respect that. And I think they had an incident a couple weeks ago, or like last month or the month before, where someone in their live broadcast said something insensitive. It's like, of course, it's like, cause that's, you know, it's not a very PC stream, is it?
Was it? I think I saw something about that.
Yeah.
I saw someone complaining about it on Twitter. Was it United game? It was someone went down injured from the opposition team, and like they were all sort of like watching it together. And someone said something that wasn't really okay. But I couldn't really hear it.
Yeah, me neither.
But like there was a lot of backlash on Twitter about it.
I think he wasn't in the guy who said it. I think was not in the FA Cup final live stream. So you could you can. So actually, I wanted to talk about. Well, since we're still talking about Liverpool for a
Community
second,
Shield.
yeah, Community Shield.
Okay.
What are your thoughts
Yeah.
on Firmino? Because people are very divided on him. There's publicly you guys have been going to kind of get a replacement for him, in Werner, but then that didn't work out for you. What are your thoughts on him? Do you think he's good? First of all, do you think he's not good?
Yeah.
Do you think you need a replacement? Who do you want the replacement to be? Realistically, who do you think it will be if there is one?
Bobby, I think he's one of my favorite players on our team. He is literally one of my favorite players on our team, and he, like, opposition fans don't see what he does for the team, and Klopp has stated several times before that I'm not expecting Bobby to score a zillion goals this season. That's not his job.
Exactly.
But he did mention it when I'm trying to remember if it was around the Club World Cup time, and he'd gone a bit cold on the goals, and Klopp, and he'd come back from the Club World Cup and then scored, obviously scored the winning goal in the final, and then when we came back to England, he scored again. I think he scored 2 goals in that game. I can't remember, but we need to check. But he ran over straight to Klopp and hugged him and all of that.
Yeah.
And Klopp then spoke about it after the game, and he said, "Yeah, Bobby had come to me and he was a little bit down. He hadn't scored for a few games, and he was saying I don't know what's wrong and blah 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 and all of that." And basically, Klopp said, all I told him was, "Listen, I don't want you to put pressure on yourself. I don't expect you to score all of these goals in one season. Your job is very different to the goal scorers in the team." And it is exactly that. When you look at Bobby's heat map of the games that he plays, you can see exactly what his role is. You can see him dropping back from that number 9 position. He's sort of he's a false 9 basically. So he drops back into midfield. And depending on the team, obviously, that either it pulls the defense with him, or it causes a little bit of space for basically Sadio and Mo to jump in from the wings and get their goals. So if it wasn't for him, I honestly believe Sadio and Salah wouldn't be getting close to the numbers that they're
and
getting.
He's making decoy runs, he's linking up play. Absolutely. He's doing everything. People who don't think he's good, you obviously don't watch the games, because it's not just about
he's such a flair player. He's got everything. He's got the tricks, he's got the and he's such a happy player. You watch him and you're just one of his idols is he said this, but I can't remember where I read this before, but he said this before, that one of his idols is Ronaldinho. And you can just see it in the way he plays. The way he plays is all about just I'm doing this just for the enjoyment of it. I love football, and I'm doing flicks, I'm doing tricks. I'm after I score a goal, I'm celebrating like a madman. His celebrations are some of my favorites in the Premier League.
They're very
he's a madman.
Focused.
He's a fucking madman, and I love it.
Yeah, I like him too, to be honest. I think half the people who say he's not good would have him on their team in a heartbeat.
Absolutely. And look, no, they wouldn't. They wouldn't, because they don't see it. They don't see what he brings to the team, and that's the thing. Yeah. And I'll tell you one thing about, you mentioned Werner. I think Werner is a fantastic talent. I haven't seen enough to merit a 50-60 million transfer fee. Every time I've watched Werner, I think, all right, he's a really good player, but he lacks, there's something lacking in his style of play. I don't know what it is, but I just don't see him as a world-class player. I think he has a lot of potential. He's a very good player. He's very fast. He's very he has a lot of attributes that you would want in a striker, and obviously he's been banging them in Germany for I don't know how long. He's been getting insane numbers. But every time I've watched him, there's just been something that's a little bit off that I'm you know what? I'll be okay if he doesn't come. I'll be completely fine with it. when the news was like coming in about like Loa, him coming to and Klopp wanted him and blah blah and all of the news was sort of like basically saying that he was gonna come to Liverpool. I was like, okay, I'm fine with it as long as Klopp wants it. Any transfer basically for me is if Klopp wants it to happen, it'll happen, and I am 100% behind him because I was very convinced that he would make a world-class player out of Werner.
Oh, for sure.
You've got this sort of like the German connection, so you have that sort of like already. They sort of vibe together. They know each other from that.
It's not just that. Like the German league plays a style of football that's very, very similar to what Liverpool does. Like Liverpool has, even though like Guardiola's like the, you could say he's the first manager who really brought in the idea of press, or not the idea of pressing, but he really had teams that really overwhelmed people on counter pressing.
Yeah.
Klopp's gegenpress seems like miles ahead of it for some reason. Like it just seems like he's because he's from Germany and because he plays in a league where everyone plays that way, like literally every team plays that way. It's different. Like Werner would have come into like a system and a boss that is very much similar to what he was doing. So he probably would have done really, really well. He definitely wouldn't have played Bobby's role. Like he wouldn't have played the Firmino role. I
think he was coming in for a different role.
Yeah.
Like I think he was coming in to sort of like provide
get him behind. Different guy.
Yeah, sort of like whenever sort of like the system with Bobby wasn't working, like maybe you could bring on Werner and sort of like change it up a little bit. Like I was thinking he would be going for sort of like a 4-2-3-1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you'd still have the same what's it called? The same three that you have now. You just have Werner on top of it.
So you think you would play Bobby and Cam, Firmino and Cam? That would be good.
Exactly.
Well, speaking of
so
Cams,
that was basically how I was.
Yeah. Speaking of players who might play in Cam, Arsenal signed Willian on a free from Chelsea, and I think a lot of Arsenal players, might be underwhelmed by it for whatever reason. But when I was probably underwhelmed by the idea of it, but I get it. Like if you live in London, you wouldn't want to move. Just get him to across the other team. It's fine. But when I read that Arteta might actually use him as a number 10, now I got interested because I'm like, now this is interesting because he definitely has the technical skill, he has the vision, he might not have the speed to play wing, but he definitely has the speed to play number 10. So I'm interested in whether or not that he plays in the Community Shield first of all, because that would be really cool to see him if he starts the game or if he comes on, how he's used. I'd be a bit underwhelmed if he just plays as a winger all season or that game. But I'd be interested to see what Arteta does for sure. We still haven't signed Aubameyang, by the way. So we're still waiting.
You haven't? Does he have a year left on his contract?
Yeah,
or is he, like,
one of those. It's one of those things where we have to tie him down this summer.
It's the same as Wijnaldum as well. Wijnaldum, there was talk about Wijnaldum leaving.
Yeah, I heard he wants to go to Koeman wants him at Barcelona. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah. Koeman's been trying to convince him to go to Barca, and like Loa, it's just like I would rather just like keep him and bring in Thiago, man. just bring them all in.
I know, but he's like, even though he's good, Wijnaldum, like he is a guy that you could replace. He's good,
definitely.
But you could definitely sell him and then get in Thiago, and you'd probably be fine.
Sure, yeah, but I mean, for me, look, the only thing for me that sort of like that's really sad is because Wijnaldum is such like, I love him. He's been one of our best players for like ever since Klopp came in. Like I think Klopp bought him for 25 million from Newcastle the year they
got relegated.
The year Newcastle got relegated. Yeah. So he has been such a great player for the club. He basically took the Barcelona game by the neck, scored 2 goals after coming on at halftime, and just like went rogue on them. But on the other hand, like I can also see it from the perspective of a player. This is a player who's sort of like, he's basically won everything with us right now, except for the cups, obviously. But like, who cares? But he's won all the important stuff. He's won the league. He's won the Champions League. He's won the. Did he win No, he didn't win the Europa League, but like, who cares again? But he won the Club World Cup. He's won the European Super Cup. So it's
Yeah.
like, you know,
Which yeah.
you've contributed enough, and you've done enough to merit like whatever move you want. Like, if he wants to move, for example, his family might want to move. His family might want to go to a sunnier place. They might want to move to Spain. Coleman might have some ideas where he's replacing Busquets with Wijnaldum. I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
If he wants a new challenge, so be it. I would not stand in his way at all. I hope he does well, because he's absolutely a stand-up guy and deserves all the good all the good
Well,
he deserves.
Yeah,
All the
that's
good he
really
gets.
good. Really nice words from you. So hopefully he either finds his place in Barcelona or stays with you. We'll see. It occurred to me though that while you were talking, you could have been talking about someone else, which I think we'll move on from the Community Shield now.